And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SportsNetUSA.net, and it's a beautiful Thursday evening, and it's the show again, and that's what we're going to call this. This is the show. On Thursdays,
Sure.
me and Ed and Mark, get together every couple weeks, and we talk sports. We talk football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever you want to talk about it. And tonight we are happy and ecstatic to be joined by head coach of the Nogales Noble football squad, Gus Martinez, down in your bottom. Well, if you're looking for me, I'm in the top right-hand side. Gus is down at the bottom left-hand side. He's our guest today. Up in the upper left-hand side is Mark Pavlovich, the man, the myth, the legend. Say hello, everybody.
Hello. How
All
you guys
right, and
doing?
Ed
Hey, baby.
Ford on the ones and twos guiding us through this Thursday. And it's just an honor to talk to you, Gus. We've known you for years, from your days in Orange County, coaching at Fullerton High School, coaching at Sonora, around the Fullerton College football program, and it's just a pleasure to have you on. And first thing I wanted to ask you
Thank you.
is, how you doing?
Well, it's been interesting to say the least for everybody, right?
Right.
When you're used to working 13, 14 hours a day to being off since March 18th and not going back until, maybe a week or so ago. We had a 2-week stint of some weight room and some outdoor work with, 10 bodies in a weight room over at Sonora. But pretty much after that, it's been nothing. So it's been a transition. I got a chance to hit some hikes and stuff and get out there and try to take care of myself a little bit. Something that gets neglected when you're working those type of hours. But I'm good. Everything's great.
All right.
Hey,
And Mark,
Gus.
you get to ask the first
Gus,
serious question.
and my thing is because we're as you just expressed, it's online teaching and everything else. And I have a sister that does that for theater. I have a nephew that does it for mathematics, sociology. So, what is the routine for Gus Martinez, a football coach? Because we have limitations of physical contact with players. What have you set up to take your message as the new head coach over at Nogales and relate to all these new players that are just being introduced to you online, in person? How have you done this?
Yeah, so technically, I have not met the team as a whole yet. We have not been able to meet. I think I was officially hired 2 weeks ago, and it's been tough. We've done a few Zoom meetings on Wednesdays, and now that school started, we have them in sixth period football, and we have our block of 60, 80 minutes. So I'm going to meet them tomorrow. We have our freshman head coach running that right now, our sixth period football right now. He'll be doing that during the school year. We'll be doing study hall during that time. But right now, it's all Zoom meetings. Definitely not the way you want to start and meet a team and try to introduce yourself. But it's where we're at, and it's what we're going to keep doing right now until we get the green light to get back out there.
Okay, and let me follow up with that. I'm sorry, Corey. I just wanted to follow up real quickly because, Gus, you have seniors that are out there that wanted to play football. Now it's all online. There doesn't look like there's going to be a season. So tell me, as a head coach, a new head coach who just met the team, what were your first words to your seniors that came back that are being taught your new program on Zoom and the likelihood of them stepping on the field, dim or none? What did you express to those people that are going to get hurt the most if we continue to go the direction we're going this year towards sports?
Yeah, so right now, the only thing we could control is staying positive and being prepared for when that time comes. We have to assume it's coming and hope and pray that January is the date CIF has set, and we need to be prepared for that. So right now, we're just really pressing, keep your grades up, try to do the workouts we're putting out there. A lot of body workouts. A lot of our kids don't have weight rooms, so we need to get creative on how we could get them to stay in shape. But the bottom line is, we're telling these guys to stay ready, stay focused. There's a million what ifs, but if we what if ourselves all day, we're not going to be ready to go in January if that's indeed what happens. So we have to have hope. We have to believe. And the sooner at least we could get to meet and maybe work out on the field, I think they'll get a little more confidence, a little more hope. I know Orange County opened up this week. I think my old school, Sonora, started this week, and some other schools. So there's some hope, not the 10 guys in the weight room, I don't think. I think they're only outside. But we'll take anything right now. Getting back outside, doing some conditioning, some running, just kind of being around everybody, of course, at 6 foot distance. But that's really all we could hope for right now and stay positive for. They have to stay positive. Their senior year is going to come. And if they're not ready, if they focus on just being down and not focused, well, it's going to come and pass them real quick, and we're not going to have a very good year.
And you talk about that focus and staying prepared and ready. Outside of football, how do you portray that outside of football, those life tips and life skills? What are you saying to those kids to stay focused?
Yeah, we're a big, all our coaching staffs I've ever been on, and we're a big team leadership roles, and we're all about the community. So without being able to do that right now, it's going to be difficult. So tomorrow we're going to talk about all that stuff and still trying to do what they can, still help out around the house, still help out their neighbors if they can. If we can't do community service stuff right now, and we can't really gather as a big group, I'm sure they all have a couple of friends. They need to still try to pick each other up, stay focused with each other. Of course, obviously being careful at all times. But that's all we really could push home right now is they really need to try to stay focused and really help each other along individually, because we can't do it together. We can't do that community service stuff that we're used to doing. We can't do that team building stuff that we're used to doing. So that's a big problem right now. But we're going to stress grades, and waking up every day and making sure they check in and making sure they're getting their stuff done in the classroom. Because the last thing we want is for the season to get here and a lot of these kids not focus on waking up and taking care of the classroom stuff. So that's really where we're going to push home right now. That's why I'm going to push home tomorrow when I meet with them during sixth period via Zoom and really push that across.
Okay, Gus, and I'm going to take it a little step further here too on that, because I know in you going from school to school to school, one of the statements was published. I don't know if you actually said it, but it was published that you were looking for security and finding that school where you had security. You knew you had a home as an educator and a coach. So what do you tell those coaches that just came on with you and things have come to a grinding halt? It can't just all be about the players. There's got to be something you're preaching to the other men that are standing next to you in the locker room going, hey, I'm at Nogales and I thought it'd give me an opportunity, and now you're not doing anything. So what do you tell your coaching staff right now?
So that's been a positive as far as this delay. I just got the job late. I left Sonora late for both of us, it was really good that it got pushed back to January. That's been a big help. It's allowed us both to get our staffs together. I was really fortunate enough to get 5 or 6 guys that have coached football at Nogales at some point to come back on board. It's a real tight community. I'm really excited for what they have there. They have a lot of coaches that cared already on staff. So being able to get those guys to buy into what I'm about was a big deal. And they really love the kids there at Nogales. So that was huge. I've been able to bring about 4 or 5 guys from my Sonora staff. That always is obviously, a big deal for me to have guys that I've worked with already and I trust and believe in and know what they're about. I know they're going to come to work every single day and put in those hours for the kids. So, our coaching staff right now is just, we're still trying to get cleared through the clearing process. It's so difficult with, very limited staff on campus, so many things, so many obstacles right now just to get cleared. As a coach, every district is different. So half my guys are coming from, the Fullerton Joint District. So we all need to do everything all over again. So, it's been challenging. It's been very challenging just to tell my coaches and get those guys focused. Not to mention implement our new offense, our new defense, all our philosophies. So it's going to be a challenge, but, it's nothing we haven't done before. And as far as, I have jumped around the last couple of years, but before that, you guys know me, I was looking for a home. I had a home at Fullerton High School. I was there, 24 years. It was just time to go. My run had ended. It was a great run. I posted something today. I love all those guys. I have lifelong relationships with those guys. Had a great time just coaching again at El Dorado as offense coordinator. That was so much fun again. Gave me life again. And then the opportunity popped up at Sonora. The head coaching spot opened up, and it was great. It was fun. My booster club was amazing. The parents were amazing. The kids, they wanted to believe and they wanted to win. So my time was great there. Just a better opportunity came along to provide, and I had to take it. And I hope Nogales is my next, 20-year spot. I don't know if I have 20 years left in me, but we'll give it a shot,
Now you got more than 20.
I hope so.
And I was just about to ask you about that. What got you into the coaching field? Why did you want to become a coach?
Yeah, good question. So early on, I coached my brother in soccer. My brother's about 3 years younger than me, and I coached him in 8th grade soccer. I was a senior, and I knew the head soccer coach, and he asked me to coach him in soccer. So by my senior year, I kind of already had a little bug about it. And then, high school comes around, you play football, and I try to jump into the JC ranks, and, I couldn't make the transition from D lineman to linebacker. I was too slow. Saw my old D-line coach, Julian Smolowitz, in the stands at a La Mirada game. And he had just gotten the job at Fullerton High School, and he's asking me what's going on. And I tell him, "Oh, coach, I hung up my cleats. It's just time to hang them up." And the next thing you know, he's all, let's go coach. And that was back in 1994. And man, I haven't taken a year off since. It's been amazing. I love building young men and helping them achieve goals that they want and reach for, and helping them, when they fail. We're going to fail all the time. We still fail. I still fail all the time. So it's great to try to be there to support these kids when things are great and when things are bad. And that's really my joy. My passion is to help these guys be good men, the best they can. And that's why I've been stuck doing it. It's definitely not for the money. It's always it's just a passion. It's a passion to help young men build and grow, and it's been awesome.
Gus, you look at it, you talk about the passion you have as a coach, but there's also that political game in high school football. We can talk about college football, we can talk about community college football, but it's parochial schools end up taking the every average school who's lucky to get enough players out there and lucky to have enough money for it. So I've got to ask you, how have you navigated through that political mayhem during all these years since 1994?
Yeah, it's definitely changed. In 94, the kids that lived in your area, they came to your school. We were blessed with some great talent early on at Fullerton, but as the years changed and the private schools got a little bigger and the recruiting started happening, it's been a lot more difficult. But when that started happening, we kind of hung our hat on our youth camps and still coaching up the kids that wanted to be either a Fullerton Indian or a Sonora Raider. And now it's going to be a Nogales Noble. We're still about coaching up the community and the kids that are supposed to come to us. And if the kids that want to leave, I can't stop them. I can't stop them from leaving. I'm not a big guy as far as going out and recruiting guys, and that's not where we're going to hang our hat. We're going to hang our hat on the young kids that live in our area, that are our feeder schools. We're going to promote our program the best we can. I've been on campus a couple of times at Nogales. It's a great atmosphere. There's a lot of good things there. Are we going to lose some kids? Maybe. I hope not. At some point, I hope everybody stays. And if every athlete stayed that should stay at Nogales, we would be in great shape. So, and that's for every school that I've been at, to tell you the truth. At Sonora, the same thing. There's that other school down the street that's done a great job. But if we would have kept, most of our kids at Sonora, we would have been great. We would have been okay. And same thing at Fullerton. At Fullerton, there's 3 high schools with the private school down the street. It was difficult. But at the end of the day, we're going to hang our hat on coaching up the kids that want to be there, that want to be part of your program, part of the community. And that's where we're going to hang our hat.
And back to that community statement, not just for the football and athletic department, what is having those local kids stay there? What does that mean for the community?
Well, every community wants to see their school do good. They want to see them win a game or win a championship. So, as soon as we get those guys to buy in, to stay home, and to understand that we're going to treat them as good as any program, we're going to make them feel first class. We're not going to let them be second class to anybody. We're going to make sure they have the best gear, the best coaches, the best atmosphere. We're going to get school spirit up. And yet we're going to do all those other things that they see out there. We're going to get kids to college. We're going to make sure they're prepared in the classroom so that if they want to go play college football, they'll be ready to go, and we'll make those connections for them. I've been blessed. I think we had over 18 kids at Fullerton, and just my first year at Sonora, we were able to get 3 kids to the next level. So it's all about teaching these kids. It's not just Division I, but that there's Division III, Division II, NAIA. Do a good job in the classroom, in the weight room, and let your talent speak for itself, and we'll find you a home. There is a home out there for you if you do your job in those classrooms. You don't have to be the 6'4", 225-pound guy, but you do have to, do those other things. Take care of your business in the classroom. Take care of your business in the weight room, and then perform on Friday nights. And somebody will help you out with school and give you money, free money in some form or way. You want to call it scholarship, call it financial aid. I don't care. I call it free money. And at the end of the day, that's what we're about. And if you just want to be a good high school football player and help you get through high school and then go out and be a productive citizen, well, then that's what you're going to be too. We're going to help you do that too.
And what's your philosophy on that? As a head football coach, what is your philosophy to get that done?
Well, we're going to do grade checks. I know keeping the kids accountable for what they're doing in the classroom is a big deal. We will kick off every day with study hall all year long. We'll do that 6th period. They have a chance to do their homework. And then we're going to be there, the maximum amount of hours. I don't want to say how many hours that is because I think there's a CIF rule, but we'll be there the max amount of hours, whatever that is, working hard. But first, the grades have to come first. And once we get that going and these kids understand that their grades are the foremost, most important part, then we could get things rolling. We'll take them. I was fortunate enough to take the Sonora kids to USC spring practice. I took the Fullerton kids there. At some point, I hope we could take the Nogales kids there. Let them see what Division I athletes look like. And it's okay if you're not that guy. We could still bring home some type of college education for you or some type of level of football if you want to do that. We'll take them to Whittier College and we'll let them see a Division III game. We'll do all those things so that they could just get an idea. We'll take them to Fullerton College. Coach Campbell invited us over last year, and we did a little tour with Coach Campbell. We watched spring practice there, went into the weight room. And if JC's your route, we'll show you that's okay too, right? There's a lot of avenues for these kids, and I just want them to know it's not just Division I or bust. That's not it. So grades first, the philosophy has to come in the classroom first, and weight room, there's no leaving out the weight room. And then your football talent and your skills will take care of themselves.
Gus, I'm going to stick with the psychology aspect that Corey's got going here because there's another part to coaching high school football, and that's dealing with people like Corey Nealon and myself who have sons that play for you, and we think our kid's a Division I player. We think our kids should be starting all the time, and that's something that's not really talked about publicly. Those that have played or coached know about it. But I got to ask you, besides dealing with the kids, how did you deal with parents that looked at you and said, Coach Martinez, you have no idea what you're doing. My kid should be the starting running back at Fullerton High School, and why is he not playing? I've got to ask you how you dealt with that.
Do you have my phone tapped or something? That sounds like a scenario I've had. I don't know. To tell you the truth, I understand that. Every one of our kids is special to someone. That's someone's baby. That's someone's child. And so I listen to everybody. At the end of the day, we're gonna sit down. We'll have a conversation, and we're gonna have to agree to disagree at some point. All our coaching staff has always wanted to try to win on the field at the end of the day, right? We all want to win. So we're doing what we think is best. We're thinking we're doing what's best for the team at that point, and that's never going to change. If parents want to have a conversation about it, which they have, of course, you understand that, I understand that, we'll have those conversations. And the first thing we're going to tell them is come to practice. Come check out practice. Our practices are always open. Come look and see what your son's doing or not doing. And then we could have another conversation after that. Ask your son first what's going on. Ask your son if he's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. And at the end of the day, like I said, if that's still not enough, we're going to have to agree to disagree. and move forward from there. But yeah, it happens. I that's part of being the head coach. At the end of the day, you have to take those questions, those phone calls, those emails, and it's just part of the job.
Mark, you got another one?
Yeah, well, Corey, I really don't want to go away from this area right now, but there's another area that, and Gus, I really have to look at it. I mean, I look at you, Gus Martinez. We look at football in a way that
you got there early, Mark.
There's not. I know that's why I said something to you, Corey, because you know where I'm going with this, and that's why I wanted to see if you wanted to stay someplace else before I took off on my tangent. I mean, I'll throw it back to you if you don't want me to take it.
No, we'll circle back. We want to get into that one.
Okay, but Gus, I've got to ask you. I mean, Hispanic football coach. You coached at a school, Fullerton High School, very heavy Hispanic background. We know that at that high school and the area that's there. And I've got to ask you, because Corey and I could talk about pro football. You know about pro football. We can look at some college. The Hispanic coaches, you could talk about the lack of black coaches at certain levels. But the Hispanic coaches nil out there. There's very few. And if there are, they're not talked about. So I've got to ask you, how do you take those young Hispanic players that are not the 6'4", 285 guy, that are trying to find their way through school because you have found success in your way, and say to them, as a proud person with your heritage, hey, understand something. I've made it as a coach in predominantly a white profession. Do you ever have these conversations with students, or do students ever come up to you and say, hey, Coach Martinez, how come you're the only Hispanic coach in our league? Does this ever happen to you?
Well, we have a lot of conversations with our kids, and definitely I think that's a big draw to why Nogales was so interesting to me. It was a lot like Fullerton High School, and it was a lot like the kids that I've been coaching for 24 years when I was at Fullerton.
Okay.
There's no doubt that they need some guidance. They need to know someone loves them. And sometimes, just like any other race, they want to see someone that looks like them or has the same background. I actually grew up in La Puente till the 7th grade. I went to Del Val Elementary School and Sierra Vista Junior High School till 7th grade. So it's kind of interesting that it's kind of gone around full circle. Nogales is actually on Northam Street, and I lived on Northam Street a couple miles down the road, the cul-de-sac. But it's really kind of ironic that I ended up back over there. But at the end of the day, absolutely, it matters. I want them to know that I'm there for them. I love them, and that we're going to coach them hard. We're not going to make it easy for them just because of what they are. That's never going to happen. We're going to coach them as hard as we can to be good young men of whatever race. But at the end of the day, absolutely, we want them to see and feel as confident as they can that I know what they're talking about sometimes, or I've been in their shoes. And that was a big deal at my previous schools, and also ending up at Nogales. I think that's going to help us a lot, attract kids to the community and make sure that they understand that, I came from there too.
And we talk about that coaching and whatever race you are, the Hispanic coaches. When you're doing research for this show, I don't know, Mark, if you ran into this as well. Around the country, there seems to be less and less. Well, when you move to California, yes. And Gus, this goes to you specifically. When you move to California, you find more and more. Is that truly just a California thing that you've seen, or if you've seen such things like that?
Yeah, you guys brought that up. I don't feel like I'm one of just, one of one. I have a great network of coaches that I can reach out to and communicate with, and that are of Hispanic heritage. So again, that might just be where we're at here in North Orange County, or now being over the hill in Nogales. But yeah, I definitely don't feel that. But I definitely carry it. I carry my last name like everybody does. I tell all our kids to represent themselves, their family. And it's no different for me. I want to make sure I'm doing that the best I can. And but I definitely don't feel that I'm isolated out there. I definitely have a great network of coaches that I could reach out to, and we collaborate all the time, and I bounce things off of them. A lot of these questions that you guys are asking me or situations that have come up, I'll call a coach. I'll call Coach Ortiz down at San Clemente, who has a Division I program, and ask him, hey, Coach, how'd you deal with this? Or I'll call Coach Davidson over at Western High School and say, hey, Coach, how'd you do this? So I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be around a lot of good coaches, and both those guys that won championships, and even in our own league, Coach Mazzotta at La Habra never turned down a phone call. So I've been blessed to be able to reach out to different guys at all periods of my career. When I first became a head coach, when I first became an offense coordinator. So again, I've been really blessed to have a bunch of guys around me that have helped me, and I definitely don't feel isolated, but I definitely want to represent our last name and our family, like I tell all our kids to do.
And speaking of your career, let's go back to it. And I know me and Mark talked about this for the last week. At Fullerton, you started out as an assistant coach, line coach, then you got up to head coach. You had success there. You had success at Sonora. You've had success as an offensive coordinator at El Dorado. Let's take each stop and talk about the significant successes you've had as a coach, whether the head coach or the assistant coach. We'll start at Fullerton.
Yeah. Well, my first big chunk of years was as a lower level assistant coach. I was a freshman coach, JV coach, and we won. We won a bunch of titles, and that was great. And that's what I wanted at the time. My kids were young. I thought that allowed me the best opportunity to still catch their Saturday football games or soccer games. But as they got older, and they actually all went to Fullerton High School, all three of my kids went to Fullerton High School. That's pretty much when I made the jump back to varsity. And, we did. We had a lot of successes. Our first year out, we went to the semifinals. We had the opportunity to coach in the North-South All-Star game, and I believe we're still the last coaching staff to win that game in about 14 years. So it was 7 when we won, and it's been about 7 since. So, we've had a lot of success. We went back to the first round and lost to a Sam Donald quarterback San Clemente team, which was awesome to watch as a spectator, not too cool as a coach. But, we went to the quarterfinals our last year at Fullerton. We were able to go to the quarterfinals. We lost a tough game to St. Margaret's with our best 2 players out. That still burns all of us. We thought we had a really good squad that last year, and that really hurt us. But, I've been blessed with a lot of great athletes and a lot of great kids. I'm not my X's and O's aren't anything special. I'm just been lucky to have a lot of good guys. And then, at El Dorado, it was great. Coach Lamonda gave me the opportunity just to go out there and coach again and be able to walk out when those phone calls and those emails came. That was awesome. That was fun. Just kind of look at him and wink and walk out. And, that was really cool to say, hey, see you later, Coach, at 6 o'clock when he still had a booster meeting and didn't get home until about 8:30. So that was really neat, just to get back into being the office coordinator and not having to worry about all that other stuff and the fundraising and all that stuff. And then the Sonora job opened up, and you know what, it was great. I really did enjoy my time there. It's a great campus. We're gonna have some struggles there. We had our struggles there, just trying to keep our kids, because there's so many schools and options they had for football. But we were getting kids to buy in. We had a great freshman team that battled and came in second place. We got our numbers up. We went back to 3 levels. The year before, they only had 2 levels. And our booster club was amazing. We were able to buy uniforms, and we were able to buy all kinds of new equipment, camera stuff. So we had a great core going. It was a tough decision to leave. It was really tough. But at the end of the day, everything kind of lined up to make the jump to Nogales, and the opportunity to get back to that Fullerton type of athlete and student was really enticing to me, and it's really what I'm good at, to tell you the truth. That helping those type of young men is really what I focus on and really try to push, and I think I'm best at that. So here we go. We'll find out. And then COVID-19 happens, and I get to do it via Zoom, but hopefully soon I'll be able to meet these kids, and they'll get to know me, and they're going to understand. I'm not going to be soft on them. I'm not going to be I'm not there to be their friend. But I am there to love them and coach them up and coach them really hard. And as long as they understand that, I'm trying to help them be successful. We're going to have a good time there. And they have athletes. There's athletes at Nogales, and we just got to, same thing. We just got to keep the kids that are supposed to come to Nogales, and we're going to be okay.
Hey, Gus, I got to ask you, let's go back to Fullerton for a second. Weren't you a co-head? Didn't you guys have co-head coaches when you were at Fullerton High School? And the reason I ask that, if you look at our screen, Corey Nayland's up there. I'm up there. If you've ever been around Corey and I, which you have been, at the things, and somebody will say, "What are we doing?" And I'll say, "Go ask Corey." He'll say something, and then Corey will go ask Mark. And I'll say, "Well, we're doing this," and then Corey will go, "No, we're not doing that. We're going to do this." And I'll say, "Well, then fine. You plan it." And Corey goes, No. You plan it. And Corey's smiling because he's been through this. So I got to ask you, co-head coach at Fullerton High School, no egos or anything else? I mean, one head offense, one head defense. Is that how you co-head coached, or how?
Yeah, absolutely. And Coach Diabla was there in '94 when I got there. And is one of those guys that I reach to whenever I have a question. You know, he's about 10 years older than me. And when I first got to Fullerton, you know, I was his assistant D-line varsity coach my first year. And he kind of took me under his wing at that point. And, you know, then you fast forward, you know, however many years, 18 years. And, you know, whatever situations came up and we're offered the co-head football job. You know, we all took our strengths at that point. You know, I said, okay, well, I'll do the offense, you do the defense. And then, you know, these are the things that I'm good at, and these are the things that you're good at. And, you know, we just kind of ran with it, and it worked really well. And we're still friends to this day. In this COVID-19, we were able to get a couple hikes in together. It was great. Coach Diablo and I had a great relationship, but working together was extremely easy. I know we have been asked that question a couple of times. But no, it was so easy. I couldn't even really explain it to you guys. We just took our strengths and what we were both good at, and we ran with it, you know?
See, Corey, no looking down the sidelines or staring at somebody. Gus would be very easy in the booth. He would just say, "Keep going, Mark. You're doing great." Say, just want thanks, Gus. I like that reinforcement there.
No problem.
Better answer than I used to give. I don't care. Just go talk to Mark. And with your move, and I don't know if you talked to your boosters or any alumni over at Nogales, from your move from the Orange County area to Nogales, football wise, have you heard any differences in type of play from Orange County to the San Gabriel Valley?
No, not yet. You know, I haven't really. I got to meet the Booster Club, you know, just the board the other day, about 4 or 5 of them. You know, it's just been so different. Everything's so different right now. I just haven't had that opportunity yet. But you know, we've gone on Huddle now. We got a chance to watch. You know, there's great athletes over here as well. So you know, I don't know how the whole thing's gonna be. I've been in Orange County for 24 years, or since '94. How many? 25, 26? I don't know how long that is anymore. So yeah, it's gonna be different for me. Yeah, just the officials, even the officials. You know, I've known all the officials in Orange County for so long, built great relationships with all those guys. So all that stuff's gonna be different for us, and especially for me. But at the end of the day, it should be football, high school football, and we'll be okay. But yeah, looking forward to getting to know all those different things and getting to know the officials and getting to know the different tendencies and the caliber of football. Definitely excited about that.
And speaking of Nogales, I'll go ahead, Mark.
No, go ahead, Corey, because I was going to throw something that you could ask, because you know about Nogales High School.
Well, that was my next question. You talk about the history of Nogales. Have you had a chance to learn the history or go over the history of Nogales football? Because lately we've seen it struggled a little bit. Back when I was growing up, it was a dynamic football program. Have you got a chance to study a little bit of the history of Nogales?
Yeah, so here's the super irony of everything. The new head coach at Fullerton High School, Richard Salazar, came from Nogales. So again, another guy that I've been able to reach out to during this whole process. Great young man, really happy that he took over at Fullerton and the things he's trying to do there and continue to do there and build the program from where we left it off. So I've been blessed again. So I had that avenue to reach out to him and ask him a bunch of questions. He had some success. He was able to keep some of the kids there and bring in some kids. So it can be done. There's no doubt it can be done. And he was able to, give me some ins and outs of how it is around there. So I'm going to continue to use that lifeline as long as he keeps it open for me. He's a great guy, though. And Looking forward to reaching out to them and finding out, all I can. But definitely have done that already, and definitely looking forward to, like I said, the rolling game is obviously something everybody looks forward to. It's the crosstown rival, and the league got mixed up this year, so it's a whole new league. Our whole schedule, I guess, is really different from last year. So I get to kick that off from the beginning, but definitely the rolling rivalry and bringing some dominance back to Nogales football is what we're going to focus on. We want to be known for a football school again and get that pride back. And it's really great to have our home stadium on campus again, and looking forward to packing that place up.
Yeah, it should be interesting because me and Mark have watched your teams at Fullerton, and we've noticed that you guys can run with anybody. And from about the mid '80s to about mid '90s, probably about 10 years, Nogales had a stretch of running backs and running quarterbacks that were simply dynamic. So I think with a hire like you at Nogales, I think it's something that they're going to have fun with. And if any of the players want to, email us to let us know what was it like watching Fullerton High School play, go ahead and hit us up, because we can tell you're going to have fun out there. I know you had a question, Mark.
Yeah, and this is the thing, Nick. I'm going to go back with your experience as being a coach. We talk high school football. You talk about being at a new program, but the state of high school football itself. What do you coaches talk about on what should be the state of high school football? How do we improve high school football? How do we get the old crowds back out to high school football games? Corey and I have done so many high school football games, Gus, that we've looked at, not necessarily at Fullerton, but at other stadiums where if there's lucky, there's 62 people at the most. How do we change high school football to what it used to be, where everybody comes out on a Friday and or a Saturday night to watch Nogales play football? How do you and the other coaches see we change the game to get fans back out there?
Yeah, so it's something we started attacking at Sonora last year, and I thought we did a pretty good job of getting our crowds up. Definitely going to use the same formula at Nogales. First thing is you got to get the kids on campus to come and watch your team. You got to get the band parents to come out. You got to get the cheer parents to come out. You got to get all the parents of all the other groups that are part of Friday night. You need to make Friday night an event. And then the other thing we did at Fullerton is we did the theme nights that everybody does. We did Tackle Cancer Night, where we raised thousands of dollars for local charities for breast cancer. We also did our military night, and we bought the kids the cool uniforms and stuff like that, but there was always purpose behind it as well. So we had the military uniforms, we had the Tackle Cancer uniforms, we had our youth night, where we invited. It used to be called Pop Warner Night. Now we just invite everybody, and we tap that into the cheer so that they have a youth night. So they bring in future cheerleaders, and we have the band also do future band members. Nogales band, from what I hear, is off the charts. So, we should bring in all kinds of kids on our youth nights. And then, we want the local NJBs or Pop Warners or AYSO kids to come out and experience a Friday night, whether they play football or not. It really doesn't matter. It's their community. It's a Friday night. We get 5 guaranteed Friday nights, and we want to make sure those nights are just special. We're going to try to get our staff and our teachers out there. We're going to have a VIP zone where they just hang out in the end zone and chit chat and watch, cheer on their students. They get to see these guys every single day, but yet you see very few faculty and teachers out there. And that's just doesn't make sense to me. So, we're going to get them involved as well. We're going to make sure we do our faculty captains and our staff captains, and we'll get teachers to ride the bus with us and staff members to come into the locker room with us and hear our speeches, see our pregame meals, come to our Thursday night meal and give them a jersey or a T-shirt and tell them thank you for being our faculty captain. So it's always the same thing, building within. I don't need a bunch of transfers to come in. I need guys and staff and teachers and everybody on campus to buy in, and we're going to be okay.
All right, and going back to the question about transfers and I wanted to go to not standings, but conferences or leagues. Is it a good thing that these leagues in the high school football and high school athletics keep changing every year, or how can there be more consistency?
Yeah, in the Freeway League, we were fortunate. We've stayed the same for the last God knows how many years, but the full time that I was there, it never changed, and it's awesome. You get to build these rivalries, these crosstown rivalries. You get to build relationships with the coaches, and you guys love each other. 364 days out of the year, except for that Friday night, you guys go after it for 48 minutes. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how we have any control over that. Definitely not a fan of it. I love building those league games where you've been seeing those teams for years in and years out, and it's a cycle. If as long as everyone keeps the kids that they're supposed to have, there's gonna be some valleys, some hills, and but hopefully we stay on top a little longer than most. But definitely, I don't know if that's in our control to stop that from happening. But not a big fan of it. Would definitely like it to stay the way it was and has been, to build those 5 league games and even the preseason games. You get a good preseason game like at Sonora where they play Brea every year. That's a crosstown rival, even though it's only separated by a few miles. So that's a game that you want to keep around. And then at Fullerton, we had Anaheim for 100 years. Those are things you try to keep around and want to build off of and build those type of games.
And speaking of those athletes, sorry, Mark.
Oh no, go ahead, Corey.
No, one more, then I'll let you take the next 2 after this one. Speaking of those athletes that you're trying to bring in, we've seen Nogales athletes such as a Kevin Devine, a Daryl Lewis, Jimmy Hunter back in the day. They were all around athletes. And we had a softball coach on a couple weeks ago talking about the specialization of sport and softball not getting those all around athletes. As a football coach, how do you feel about that? And I know you want good athletes, but how do you feel about that specialization and that all around that used to be back in the day?
Well, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I'm not a fan of it. We push all our kids, and Coach Diablo, when I was at Fullerton, was the head track coach. So we push all our kids to track. In the wintertime, we want them to go do something else, go wrestle. There's nothing like shooting a leg to kind of simulate a tackle move, and get tough and get that one-on-one competition, especially in track. Same thing, get that one-on-one competition. I want to stand here and tell you that, I would like to throw a football around all year long, but at the end of the day, I don't want to do that. I want to be in the weight room all year long. I want these kids to go and compete. I want them to use different muscles. I want them to try different skills. And then when it's football time, we'll hit it as hard as possible. We want our kids to do at least 2 sports, at least, if not more. And we got that. We got that going at Fullerton. We had it going at Sonora. We had it going. And we're going to push that again. I already got the head track coach on our staff. Coach Chap is our head track coach. He's going to be our running backs coach, and he's going to be our strength and conditioning coach. That was really one of the first guys I wanted to meet with and get after. He's been there a few years, understands the athletes that we have at Nogales, and that was a big time pickup for me to get him back on staff and want to help out and have him believe in my philosophy and what we believe in. So that it's gonna take some time to get these kids to understand. Yes, I know they all want to do 7-on-7 and they all want to do football all year long, but once they understand, there's plenty of time for football, and I need them doing other stuff. Obviously, the weight room is something that's non-negotiable. We can't leave the weight room for 3, 6 months, 7 months. We can't do that. That's non-negotiable. But as far as doing some football stuff or going out there and competing in the track or going in there and competing on the mat in the wrestling room, those are things that we'll sacrifice to just have these well-rounded athletes. And I think that's paid huge dividends at Fullerton for us. So I don't see why it wouldn't at Nogales.
Corey, I was just going to comment on, the wonderful teal jersey that Gus was wearing. But Gus, the other thing I want to know, I know you're a coach. I know you love the game. I know you love all the young men and young women that have passed your ways. But what's your other passions as being an educator and being on campus? We know coaches too much are just forgotten. Oh, Gus, you're a football coach. Good for you. What did you win? Yada, 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 yada. And we forget you for everything else. So, I mean, there's got to be something else that brought you to Nogales, just not another football program, because you have been at some excellent programs and done a wonderful job. Most people would have stayed at home. You're traveling. So what brought you to Nogales besides football?
Well, I mean, honestly, just the employment opportunity to the full-time offer that they made for us, and the opportunity to make some take care of the family. Really, that was a big part of the decision making. But at the end of the day, it really did entice me to go back home to where I kind of grew up and coach the type of kids that we had at Fullerton. That was kind of the end game on what kind of said, this is what I want to do. And this is what I think I'm really good at. I think I'm really good at helping kids that don't have exactly all the best of everything, or they have a hard situation at home. I want to be there for them. I want to help them out. I want to make sure that we could do all I can. All our coaches could do all we can to help them succeed, not just in high school, but in life. Not, the football field's almost, it's last on the list, to tell you the truth. We spend so much time together, not playing a football game, that it's really a small part of what we do. We're going to do, the team building things and building those lifelong relationships with their teammates, doing the community service stuff, and get them to get out there and understand that, as bad as they think they have it, someone might have it a little worse, and give back when you can. And it doesn't have to be with money. It could be with good old fashioned elbow grease and getting out there and helping clean up something, or helping a local community charity do something. We're big parts of the Boys and Girls Club when I was at Fullerton. We did all kinds of things on Thanksgiving, on Christmas. We were at the Donate Life Walk. We were at the Cal State Fullerton special games, giving back. There's so many things that we could do and we could build off of that. And that's what I want to focus on these kids. That football is just a small part. You're right. Being called a head football coach is the football part of it's so minor. It's really just trying to help them be good young men. At the end of the day, learn how to give back, learn how to be productive citizens, and understand we're going to fail. We're going to fail a lot, but we need to get up. We need to get up, and how we react when we get up is the main part. So that's it. That's what really kind of drew me over there, and looking forward for that final home. I really want to be, hopefully we could stay here for a long time, and we call this the final stop for Coach Martinez.
And I'm going to follow that up with, because you brought it up earlier when you were talking about Fullerton in the early years, and then your children started to grow up. So who do we got sitting at home that has to deal with a head coach, the tears at the loss, the disappointments because you should have won that football game, the depression? Hey, don't talk to dad. Don't talk to dad. It's Sunday. So, I mean, how old are your kids, Gus? Do they follow in your footsteps? And, you've got to have a loving wife around there that tolerates your attitude, locking yourself in a room and not seeing her for 6 months. So what's the background for Gus Martinez's family?
Yeah, it's called football widow, a football wife widow or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, my kids have been great through this whole process, man. My kids, like I said, they went to Fullerton High School. So, not everybody was happy to say nice things all the time about dad, if I had to bench somebody or sit somebody out, but they all took it with a grain of salt. So they've been through all the highs and lows with me, my whole family. My parents go to the games, my family members go to the games, and, they've experienced all those highs and all those lows with me. And, I couldn't have done it without them. They've been behind me the whole process. From offense coordinator to head coach, to the 2-3 moves that have happened the last couple of years. So it's been awesome. My kids, I'm expecting my first grandchild here soon in January. So that's going to be awesome. My son did take after the chip of the block here. He's been coaching with me the last 4 years. He was my offensive coordinator the last couple of years here at Sonora, and the last 2 years at Fullerton. He was a quarterback coach. He went with me to El Dorado as well. He was a quarterback coach last year, or at El Dorado when we were there. We're seeing how this year is going to play out. He's not sure what's going to happen with the baby coming and stuff, so he might take a year off. But yeah, it's been awesome, and experiencing all those highs and lows. I have a great picture. I'll probably post it later today with all four of us at Fullerton. At one point, all four of us were there. My oldest daughter was a senior. My youngest daughter was a freshman. And my son had just started coaching. And that's probably one of my favorite pictures that I have. But definitely, the whole family has been so supportive of me and always been behind me. And, I couldn't thank them enough.
And so, Coach, you know what? I don't even think we're going to keep you that long today. I don't even think we asked you. So the team goals for the Nobles, if there's a season this year, and let's say next year, what are those team goals?
Well, when you take over a program that struggled last year, first thing you want to do is obviously get our numbers up. Like, again, they only had 2 levels last year. We want to get those numbers up and get as many kids on campus out to play, Noble football. That's first thing. Second thing is we want to obviously increase our wins. We want to get after it. With a whole new schedule and a whole new league, I think it's wide open. There's no reason we can't throw league champions up there and go after that, just like anybody else. Everyone has the same situation as us. Even though I came in late, everyone's, been kind of sitting back and not being able to do too much. So as soon as we get the green light, we're going to get after it. So there's no reason we can't say, we want to be league champs this year and then make the playoffs. Those are always, I think every team's goals is to get to that third season. And we definitely want to get there and make a run, with the new divisions, the way they aligned them. God knows how that's going to work out, but we're going to give it a shot. But we would definitely just want to get there first, and then everything else will take care of itself.
And Mark, I know you had one more question.
No, I was pretty well happy to hear what Nick was going to do with the team. But my last question, Nick, you always got to look. I know you say I know you said you found a home. I know that. But for a young guy like you, you're not an old guy like Corey Nealon and myself. You only got a little gray. As you can see, I got a lot of gray. Corey hides.
I got gray.
Gus, as good as you are, do you look down to the future? Do you look to the future? Is there something you'd like to do as a coach that you haven't done, be it at the next level or be an athletic director? What is the next step for Gus Martinez in high school, community college, or college sports in football?
Yeah, I was when I left Fullerton, I had so many guys reach out to me, and I was really, really blessed with so many opportunities that came my way. Coach Campbell said, I could have jumped on out there with him at Fullerton College. So many other high school coaches reached out, and I was just really taken back by how many people reached out to me and offered some great opportunities for me. But at the end of the day, I think I'm best where I'm at. I'm best helping that 14 to 17-year-old young man that comes from the area that we're going to be coaching. And that's really where I want to be, to tell you the truth, and to build that community relationships with our community and build that something like really special that we could all be proud of. And really, I want to stay. I really do want to stay somewhere for a few years and see how that works out. It was difficult even leaving Fullerton. It was just time. But after you've been at a place for 24 years and your kids have gone through there, it was tough to leave. So definitely I'm looking to build that again, that passion that I had for that school, that city. That's what I want to have at Nogales and La Puente. I want to build that and really have that passion and ride off into the sunset, hopefully.
Well, that sounds good to us. Is there anything that we missed that we haven't asked you that you'd like to discuss?
No, I think you guys covered a good chunk of things. I'm definitely curious on how you guys think this new playoff system is going to work. But man, everything's just up in the air right now. So we're just looking forward for the first green light. Once we get the first green light to get back out there on the field and at least condition, that'll give these kids a lot of hope. I think everyone's just looking for some daylight, some type of positiveness. This has been hard on everybody. There's no doubt about it. This has been really tough on everyone. And these kids deserve, especially the senior kids that have been playing football for 3 years at Nogales. It's their third head coach. just like, even our Sonora kids. That's their third head coach in 4 years. So I owe them my best effort, and I'm going to give them that. All the seniors, I promise them that I'll give them everything I have to provide the best opportunity they can for their senior year. I don't want them to lose out on anything. So already talking to them about college and the recruiting process. There's so many different things that aren't going to happen. Our college night where we bring in a academic counselor from a local college to make sure they have all those check marks ready to go. So, those things are all going to fall on me right now, and make sure that they're not missing anything, and that they're prepared to go in case they get the opportunity to go to the next level. So, those are all the things I want to do and really prepare for these kids, but definitely just want to get that first hurdle and get back out there on the field as soon as possible.
Well, again, Gus, thank you very much for joining us. I mean, we've known each other for years. We've talked too many times, just not just about sports, but life in general. And we would like to have you on again to talk about specifically that playoff system and some of the other CIFs happenings around. So,
Awesome.
Once again, Gus Martinez, head coach for the Nogales Nobles in La Puente. Roland Raider here. So that game versus Nogales, Roland versus Nogales, if it happens, Mark and I will be there, and
All
he's
right.
going to root for Nogales. I'm going to root for Roland, just so it'll be fair. How's that sound,
Absolutely.
Mark?
Yeah,
Gus, it sounds good.
I look good. I look good in teal, Gus, and I got a teal shirt here, so I've got a shirt that I can already wear. So I'll look
that's
like
green,
I belong
Mark.
to the team.
Green and black.
That's green?
Green and black. Green and
Green and
black.
black.
Oh, it looks teal. It looks. Well, hey, let's put it this way. Gus.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me get my statement in. Cheesehead, I got a lot of green at home. So there you go, Corey.
Guys,
hey, Corey, guess what?
Thank you, guys.
Nogales by 7. Nogales by
There you
7
go.
when we play Roland.
He said it. He already called it. I like that. I like how that sounds. Hey, you guys, same to you guys. Thank you guys. Over the years, you guys have always covered us, especially at Fullerton High School. And, we did have some good teams, and we had some great conversations on who we were playing and the team across from us. And when we had that big win or that big loss, it was always great to see you guys. And I appreciate you guys always supporting us and me. And thank you guys for having me out today, and look forward to seeing you at that Roland Nogales game. And loser has to wear the colors, I think, for about at least 6 months or something. I don't know, something like that.
That's cool. I look good in any color, so that's cool.
Okay.
So Gus Martinez, head coach for the Nobles. Thank you again. For Mark Pavlovich, the Buddha of Babel. Ed Ford, thank you for keeping us up, and we're glad we stayed up. And for me, Corey Nayland, you've been watching the show here. Well, I don't know if that's the actual title, but that's what I'm going to call it this Thursday here on SportsNetUSA.net.